Hello, my name is Evie and welcome back to Overwatch Everyday. This is a series where I play 1 to 5 ranked games each day and I explain my thought process that gets me up to champion on all roles throughout the video. In today's video, we start off by playing some Kiriko and talking about a lot of her new changes in this recent patch, as well as going into a lot of depth on the perk choices that she has. And later in the video, we end up playing some Zenyatta into a Widowmaker on Circle Royale and talking a lot about how we want to be positioning and swinging these corners so that we don't get one-tapped, and then wrapping things up by forcing Ana in a pretty difficult situation on Oasis. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. All right. All right. We're back at it. Oh. Okay. Atlas, Lijiang, Ilios. Looking like we're going to be getting a Lijiang Tower here. Really great map. A lot of things are going to be super viable. I'm hoping that I'll get to play a little bit of like Alari at some point soon. Alari, Lijiang, Zenyatta, Kiriko. Ooh, I would like to try out Mercy. I want to see how Mercy's flash heal actually goes. If we have like any like strong shooter comp, maybe I'll give Mercy a whirl. Looking like we're going to be having a Mauga Vendetta. Trying to ban Zarya, Cassidy. Or Mauga wants the Ana and Zarya down. That makes sense. Looking like we're definitely going to be wanting to lean into this Mauga quite a bit. So heroes like Juno, Lucio, Kiriko, sometimes even like a Baptiste or a Brigitte can be really strong with this Mauga. Something like a Juno Brig backline is going to be really strong to pair with this. Looking like we're going to be locking the Mercy though. So my initial thoughts on this is it's going to be, we're going to want something a little bit more dynamic with its movement. We're going to want something that can heal quite a bit, as our Mercy is probably going to be pocketing one person at a time, and there's one hero that fits the bill better than all the others, and it's just going to be Kiriko. Kiriko did just get buffed today. I'm queuing the night after the patch went out on Tuesday when I'm recording this video. So there's still a lot of new changes that I don't fully understand yet. I don't comprehend how the meta has shifted fully, since I just haven't had the time to really like play it. Looking like they're going to be on Domina. The main thing that just changed about Kiriko is going to be just her healing number has been buffed and she's able to TP slightly less far. I want to make sure that I'm keeping my hazard armor up the best that I can. Oh wow, okay, so how you want to weave in kunais might be a little bit different. It used to be you'd be able to weave in 2 kunais comfortably, but because the rate of fire for Kiriko is faster, it might be better to just do 1 heal, 1. Yeah, it feels like 1 heal is gonna be pretty good. If Kiriko steps on me, the main thing about Kiriko 1v1s is you want to make sure that you're calmer than the other Kiriko. Letting them sort of like walk into your crosshair, or just identifying their movement pattern and then flicking to where their head is going to be, making sure that you're maintaining your crosshair at that head level is going to be really important for you to be winning the 1v1s. We do unfortunately have a lever pretty early though into this game. I don't know if something happened or if it's just like a genuine DC, but I'm gonna assume that they're coming back. Yeah, there they are. So I'm taking this angle early, as it's gonna be hard for me to really care my hazard on that angle. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using my kunais to try to poke this angle out. As my hazard walks more towards me, I'm gonna take more space on this left. So just constantly being kind of like in range to TP back and care the people that I need to care. My hazard sets up, so now is the time that I really want to be pocketing. I'm trying to break my Sojourn here. And because we are closing... Oh, I can really feel that TP nerf thing. This is still winnable. If I see some sort of opening, like if I see like the shield out or something along those lines, I can maybe look for my rush on point. And it looks like we are going to be getting that. As soon as wall goes down is probably when I'm popping my rush on the point. I really want to be carrying my hazard as much as I can here. Our mercy will be going down. I want to be keeping my hazard up the best I can and poking out this Domino by throwing my kunais the best I can at her. Try making sure that I'm weaving in my kunais onto their Domino the best that I can as I'm healing up my Vendetta, because making sure that you're trying to maximize your number where you can, as long as it's comfortable for you mechanically, is going to be pretty important. If all you feel like you're able to do is just sort of like hold down your healing onto your like tank, then just play for that value. If you try to overdo it and end up doing nothing at all, then it's going to be really, really rough in your ranked games. But it's something to be considering as you sort of like practice. Is flex support is going to have a lot of value through just sort of like literally just raw min-maxing your numbers. So finding those like little extra weaves of damage, finding the chances or the kill potential while you're healing your team is going to be really, really important. I have a controversial perk choice on Kiriko with my hold on. All right. Oh, that's an Ajax W. I'm rushing my guy on the point. I really want to make sure that I touch. So I'm giving him the speed boost that's gained from rush, as well as rush on point is just going to guarantee this fight win. I pick the increased damage or the increased fire rate on teleport because I believe that it's actually significantly better in most comps. The reasons why is because being able to have a button to literally, it's just like an oh shit button. I'm now healing up my hazard so quickly after TPing to them. There's going to be a lot of situations on Kiriko where you're gonna say, oh shit, I gotta TP Suzu this guy, or oh shit, I gotta keep this guy alive. And anytime that you have a moment like that, or even if you are just sort of fighting on an angle, if you go TP to like your tracer on a lane, or if you have if you're TPing out and somebody's trying to chase you, having the increased fire rate means that you're able to hold down your M1 and you're going to be far more lethal for a few seconds. It's going to be way harder for anyone to try to chase you. It's going to be giving you a lot more shot opportunities, as well as it's going to be allowing you to heal anyone who you need to heal a lot more in those huge bursts. And especially since your Foxtrot, while it used to be by far the better perk because it would reduce your cooldowns as well as give you a speed boost, because it's only giving you speed boost now, most of the time that you want to be using your Suzu as Kiriko is going to be in sort of defensive positions, especially you're going to be using it a little bit selfishly. And speed boost, a lot of the times from my testing and my playing, is not going to be a huge factor at actually sort of winning or keeping anyone alive. The speed boost, while it can be helpful, especially if you're not running Lucy or something yourself, like in a game like this, the most common support to be played with Kiriko is going to be Lucio, and you're going to be having the speed boost most of the time anyways. As well as if you are playing Kiriko in a comp without Lucio, it generally means that Kiriko is going to be able to be laning a lot more. You're going to be able to be taking some aggressive space, and it means that's going to be even less like important for your team to be having the speed boost, since you're opting more of your resources into map control rather than just actually like raw running them down. So for those reasons, I think that the perk where you TP and you increase your fire rate is very underrated. Like here, I just want to be making sure that I'm keeping my hazard up as much as possible. And that's, oh my god, the buff for Kiriko is also insane because it increases by a percentage, right? Yeah, 40%. Oh my god. Okay, so that's 40% increased attack speed on already a 40% buff that Kiriko just got today. So it's now going to be ridiculous amounts of healing. You heal so much. I was so late to my Suzu. I was hoping I could read it just a second longer. I was caught up in my sort of perk discussion that I forgot, but because of the perk that I got, I'm able to just literally insta blow up their Sojourn as they're walking with the increased attack speed. So now I have my rush online. I believe this is going to be the fastest ult for my team. I see their Onion dash in and use their build or their cooldown to survive. So I'm just going to be chilling here. The Reinhardt goes in. I want to be making sure that I'm keeping my Sojourn alive. The Reinhardt's going back onto this high ground. I'm looking for a pin onto my Soj. I don't have LOS on it, unfortunately, but I will be able to find the frag onto them. I'm gonna be even like just throwing my kunais through main with the TP because they don't have the Reinhardt. It's gonna be really difficult for them to step pretty early here. Now that the Reinhardt's back, I want to make sure that I have my TP to live. My team is not holding that far up, so I'm gonna be backing up as well, making sure that I'm not caught out going for any play that's too aggressive. Reinhardt pins in, trying to get onto me, I believe. Something to be really concerned about. My Mercy is getting some pretty great touches on the point with their Valkyrie. And the Reinhardt goes in. Something to just like sort of consider is maybe I could be going for some sort of flank play here as my Mercy's Valkyrie is ending. But I think that playing on this high ground is going to yield a little bit more value over the course of the fight. So as the Reinhardt sort of walks me down, I just want to be shooting them as much as I can be here. I'm not really in a good spot. I'm not able to get into a good spot to care my hazard that much, which will really suck. But my Vendetta's back, and I'm going to have Suzu to try to live their shadow. I'm actually gonna just a little bit late. So we're gonna be actually going to the last fight of this point. Reinhardt's pinning up. My hazard is walking main. I really want to be getting my rush down on main here, but I'm gonna be fighting this angle a little bit. It's actually gonna be really bad for me to fight that angle, especially now that their Sojourn has rail, since if I die early, it's going to be end of the world. I'm rushing main. The Reinhardt really wants to shadow this, so I'm just gonna be stacking main and ready to Suzu. Looking behind, knowing that he's gonna be close in a moment. Nothing I can really do. Their Onion's on this left side, and my Detta's in. I really want to keep my Detta up. I got stressed. I was rushing my shots there. I was not able to find the kills I needed, but now that I am relaxed, I reminded myself to breathe. I'll be hitting more of my kunais. Take a deep breath. This is gonna be last fight. Wondering what I need to be doing. I have Suzu in 8 seconds. I'm still worried about this shatter, so for now I'm gonna be playing high ground, but I can be looking to get a Suzu off onto my hazard. As I play inside here, I really need to just Suzu that now instead of saving it for the shatter. My Mercy gets an amazing res onto my Vendetta. Ideally, we're going to be able to get our sword off pretty soon here. My Vendetta finds one, but we'll be going down to the Reinhardt and the chain from the enemy team's Mizuki. We have OC online in just 1 more percent. We're going to be on a pretty extreme angle with our Sojourn. If we were in TP range, that would have been the primary target to go to. But it looks like they're going to get the initial flip here. I think I can get 1 more touch. Damn. All good. We go into this next point. I think that I definitely could have won that. I think I could have been playing a lot more aggressively and using my TPs around more. I think I was just a little bit scared, or too scared of the Onion. I know that they got recently buffed, but I don't know how afraid of them I really should be. And also maybe I track shatter her shatter wrong. They just held it forever. And I was definitely playing very scared later because I was trying to put myself in positions ready to carry that shatter. But we're 16-2, we have 12,000 healing. We can definitely be turning this game around. Their Reinhardt is going to be doing quite a bit. I want to be enabling my Sojourn a lot here, especially since it seems like my other support has been kind of stacking on my my tank a bit. Maybe I could try laning with my Deta more, but it seems scary for me. Reinhardt's gonna pin onto the point. Kiriko's gonna TP, so I find a kunai onto her noggin. She'll be putting us in a really good spot for the rest of this fight. They hit a pin onto my hazard, which is a-okay. They get the initial flip, but we will be winning this fight. My hazard goes in. I want to make sure that no one else dies. I'm really scared to be TP Suzuing my Deta in a lot of these spots because it's just really committal. But I think that maybe I can get away with it a bit more. We see 3 people on right side, so I'm just going to be trying to slow them down as much as I can. We are able to find the kill onto their Sojourn. How are they building it so fast? They should not be matching me on rush. I guess I just need to be tracking it a little bit better. It really sucks there that as we look for our rush on the point, it would have been a really nice one if we did not get stunned instantly by their Earth Shatter. I just really didn't expect them to build it that fast. Our hazard wants to be, or folks on right side, but decides that they want to be going left as the Reinhardt pins over. I'm thinking about TPing, but I think that since my Juno's over there, it's going to be better for me to try to keep my Deta up into this late fight. Let's see what the game looks like if I keep my Deta alive, though it seems like potentially a tall task. Their Sojourn walks onto us on the angle, and as they start to commit onto the point a bit more, I'm going to be taking an angle, using my Suzu and just keeping back here. I really don't want to be jumping that much. So my Deta walks in, which that's a really weird spot. I don't know how to win this game. Maybe Brig, maybe Bap, maybe. I think here is the right pick. I think I just really need to be flanking more. The Reinhardt's getting a little bit too much value. Reinhardt pins on this left side, pretty close to Shatter, if I remember correctly. The Reinhardt's walking this far left. My Sojourn gets completely forced out. My Deta looks for a sword. I think my Hazard's gonna get touched, but they are gonna have Shatter pretty soon here. They missed their Onion ult, and my Deta goes in on the back line, but it will be going down. I really need to keep my Hazard alive. Okay. So they hit another pin that absolutely they're going to have Shatter going into this next fight. I think the play that I want to be making is I want to be looking for either an early kill here with a flank, or I want to be looking for an early rush. An early rush, the Reinhardt's going to naturally want to be shattering the rush, and then we want to the Reinhardt's inside of us, so I'm going to be rushing and enabling my Hazard to actually sort of walk forward onto their team. We completely force out their Reinhardt. I'm going to be taking a little bit of space here because we need to be getting a little bit more greedy. Is to put this game into our hands, now that we don't have an ultimate, I really want to be looking for some sort of... My Hazard hates me! Okay. I really want to be looking for some sort of cheeky flank kill, especially since now that I don't have Suzu, I'm not able to stop that Earth Shatter, but I can try to deny a lot of their follow-up damage. and we will be successful in finding some kills onto their backline. I knocked over my water bottle, which is on my desk. Our Detta gets chained, unfortunately. So I really want this Mizuki down, and we are able to put them down for the count and clean up the Reinhardt. They're going to have one more touch with their Onion. And their Onion will be going down, soon followed by their Kiriko. That was... Oh, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, what's wrong with me? Okay. And we will be turning this game around. A real hell of a start to the session. The 27-4, 16,000 healing. We ended up leaning a little bit away from our healing to favor more kill potential, or like flanks, because we didn't have our ultimate. If we were trying to rely a little bit too much on our healing, we weren't going to be finding that much value. We probably should have leaned more into our damage anyways, and like our flanking and our laning potential as Kiriko within that, because as soon as we're on Juno, it's going to be like our healing's done. Like for the most part, our Juno's going to be putting out like a bunch of healing for our Hazard, and our frontliners in general. So we want to be taking pressure away from them. We're going to want to be trying to control the space around our team the best that we can, and finding our own individual sort of flanks and our own individual kills and value, because our Juno is going to be enabling and fulfilling the job of like a sort of like main healer. But our Juno would have a lot harder time sort of controlling map space and actually holding down areas, because they have a lot less sort of kill potential. Their 1v1s and their dueling is a lot worse, and they're just way more squishy than Kiriko. Kiriko having both of the cooldowns of Suzu and teleport to survive is just going to be able to lock down that space and be a lot more of a threat than a Juno would on an angle. Looking into this next game, I really want to be playing something like a Zenyatta. Give me like a Zenyatta map. That does remind me, I do have some custom controls for Zenyatta. I want to make sure are okay. But I did hear word on the street is that if you have custom controls for heroes, it kind of blows you up, or like it just doesn't work right now. So maybe I'll not play it in this episode. I'm gonna go random map again, seeing just kind of what, and it's gonna give me a Zen map, and it's gonna give me like the perfect setup to play Zen. Oh my god. Okay. Circuit Royale is going to be really strong for some more pokier support. Something like an Alari, Baptiste are going to be both very strong here. Wu Yang, Zenyatta. Lifeweaver can also be fairly strong here. You can definitely play some more brawly comps, because it's going to be one lane maps. It's going to be something that makes it very easy to keep the game in a really front to back fashion. You're going to be able to use like speed boost to just ebb and flow in one direction, sort of like that push and pull, go in, go out, that Brawl really wants to be doing. It's going to be a pretty solid Brawl map, but it's also going to be an extremely long range map, so it might be hard for Brawl to get onto a pokier comp sometimes here. But because there's not many angles that you can be taking, because there's not going to be much space on the map that you can actually genuinely control, dive is going to be significantly weaker here, because dive is going to require a lot of map space to find their kills, because you're going to need angles to sort of collapse onto people, and there just aren't angles to take here on Circuit Royale for the most part. All right, bro. There's a lot of things I could play here. I could play Alari, I could play Zenyatta, I could play Wing, I could play Baptiste, I could play Kiriko. I'm gonna try Zenyatta just because I was literally talking about it a little bit earlier. Zenyatta can be really strong. I'm not changing any of my controls, so left shift. I usually have my my orbs bound to up scroll and down scroll, just so I would be able to reposition them really fast. I don't know how good it is in Overwatch 2. It was just controls I had set from Overwatch 1. I really liked being able to just up scroll to spam and get an instantly orb onto my teammates as soon as they peek like the corner. So with Zenyatta, really important that you want to be thinking about your Discord usage, because if they're able to cleanse your Discord easily, it's going to be pretty difficult to be winning. So here I see that their Sigma's walking into my Sojourn slow and peeking my team in general. So that's when I want to be throwing my Discord orb onto them. My Sojourn does go down, so I'm just going to be putting my orb right back on my Sigma. I'm looking for an aggressive Discord onto their Sigma. And now just sort of poking out the team. Their Sigma is going to be playing really, really wide, so I want to make sure that I'm able to keep the Discord on them as long as possible. I just don't see the Widow though, so I end up blowing up a bit. My Sigma falls pretty low. Something that you want to be considering as Zenyatta is knowing exactly who you're trying to peek. You want to be trying to get the most consistent damage you can possible, while being as safe as you possibly can. But there are going to be some times where you're going to be wanting to treat yourself sort of like a hit scan, sort of like a Widow, where you just want to swing, you gotta ego duel it. But they are going to be somewhat few and far between. I'm hoping I'm gonna stack on my Sigma just to get a little bit extra damage here. I'm still really worried about the Widow. I'm not discording their Sigma because I really want him to be in a pretty committed spot, and maybe I'm able to find a cheeky kill onto their Widowmaker. So they peek this area. I did not keep up with the Sigma's ult charge, so we will be in a little bit of a rough spot here. Usually you want to be having Transcendence to match the enemy team's flux. I don't know what that does yet, but they are going to swing right into our LOS. As our Sigma walks towards me, I just want to be trying to bait them in, charging up my volley the best I can, and if they're ever able to swing onto me, that's exactly when I'm just going to let it rip, blow them up really early. I have two options right now. I can either try to save my Trank for a very, very long time, or I could pop it with the idea of trying to build it back to match their flux. Staying on tempo with the enemy Sigma's flux in this sort of matchup is going to be a really, really important part about getting value out of your Trank. Since there aren't going to be many other ultimates I really want to be tranking, it's just going to be kind of an oh shit button if I don't use it for flux. I think that I will end up actually saving it though, because of the perk or the subclass that will give me 25% ult charge immediately. So even if I hold it right now, I'll still be ready to keep up with the enemy team's Sigma like immediately afterwards. But I didn't have it built by the time. Oh, down road hogging out. Okay, I can kind of pop one over. The Freya is swinging this wide area. We are going to be going down our Spider-Man, so I'm just going to be chilling on this, I suppose Spider-Woman. Maybe chilling on this main, and we will be cleaning up the rest of them. I'm popping my Trank in celebration and looking at their Zenyatta. Didn't even need our second perk, but we'll be holding on first. I think even, or just a little bit after the first choke, which is going to be a great spot to be in. Looking at our attack here, main things that we want to be thinking about is we basically need to win like 1.5 fights. We need to push up the cart. We need to find like one decent like cooldown exchange so we can get the cart up to the choke, and then we just need to win one fight once we get to the choke. So I can be thinking about ultimates that are going to be able to do that. I could just farm a really easy and quick rush on Kiriko, or maybe even try some Lari. Zenyatta can be a little bit harder. I'm a little bit worried about our Echo. Yeah, I don't know how much damage this is. And the hog scares me. I think I'm gonna go Alari here. Yeah. I'm going Alari here. The idea behind the Alari is that I'm going to be able to use my pylon and put it in positions that are going to be able to help my echo a little bit more. As well as because I just don't know how much damage Sienna does. Sierra? Sierra. Okay, Sierra does. I just want to make sure that we have some pretty consistent damage to make sure that we're able to actually like win any sort of big like frontline exchange, since Alari does a shit ton of damage. Looking like we're going to be in Amalgam Mirror. Their Mercy falls 1 HP, and I just want to make sure that my Juno stays up, since as soon as my Juno dies, the game is going to get like infinitely harder for the rest of my team. Since I'm going to be one of our main damage sources, I really want to be poking up, but my team doesn't want that, so I just go back onto the cart and just sort of chill. But my Juno is going to be the one fragging out. Awesome sauce. But they will be going down very shortly afterwards. Kiriko is walking up, attempting probably to get one real touch. And their Mago's looking to touch point, and their Spider-Woman looks to step onto us. But we will be probably looking to be chill here. Our pylon's healing up our Maga. Our Juno's healing us up. We don't have too much to do, so I'm just going to take an angle and just look to poke them out the best that I can. And we will be closing out this game very quickly. I'd like to get into the second game, or the third game I mean. We end up going into Diamond 4. Maybe we can get up to Diamond 3 today. That would be really, really exciting. Ending up playing some of Zenyatta and Alari. I'm happy we got to play a little bit of Alari. Didn't last too long, but that is going to be one of my most comfortable supports. I really like Alari, and she's very, very, very strong in rank. She has the highest win rate out of anyone in ranked right now, or at least in last patch. Across all regions and all ranks. Alari is going to be a very strong solo carry support, who's able to pump out a surprising amount of healing and just sort of DPS and damage like your way. She's a really, really good duelist. She's going to be an insanely good frontline pressure. She's self-sustainable. She's able to heal a very good, or not like a crazy good amount, but more so than a lot of other more like quirky or utility supports that aren't like specifically made for healing. Zenyatta can be a little bit trickier sometimes though. With Zenyatta being like so squishy, you're only gonna have like that 250 HP. You're only gonna have you're not gonna have any like real survivability cooldown. So if a tracer gets onto you, the only like way that you're living is if somebody comes to help, or if you just are better than them. So very, very high skill ceiling hero for Zenyatta. But fortunately, I think that we were able to find some pretty good value on them. Even if we weren't able to keep up with the enemy team's flux in the last game, I think that we still did a fairly good job managing our discords, finding some important and key frags when we needed it to, especially on that Sierra as they stepped with a bunch of their ultimate abilities. I think that Zenyatta having that sort of mid-fight pick potential is one of the things that makes him pretty strong in general. But there are going to be generally safer picks like Alari who do similar things. Okay. And we get into what's probably going to be our last game for tonight. I'm going random map once more. I want to be going random maps just so I'm able to try to showcase a few more, or maybe get a chance to show some more like unique maps, since it seems like in this series, like since I'm queuing ranked and I'm letting people sort of pick what they want to pick, we end up playing the really popular maps kind of over and over again. with Oasis, a lot of things are going to be really like fairly viable here. Looking like if we're going to be hovering the Winston and the Ana though, maybe we're going to be wanting to lean into something a little bit more of like a utility support, something like a Brigitte, something like a Lucio, maybe even a Mizuki, but I want to see what our DPS are looking like. Roadhog, Diva, Vendetta, and Cat Band, I think all very, very good bands. None of them very fun to play against in ranked. I'm really scared to see a Ramatra right now because I think Ramatra is going to be a very strong hero in the game at the moment. We are going to be locking at Winston, and we're going to see a Genji as well. Genji, Tracer, Winston, looking like we're going to be wanting to play something probably a little bit more higher mobility with our Brigitte. I could try to force an Ana. Interesting thought to force an Ana. I think I will. I think Ana is generally going to be a little bit weaker because Kiriko is a little bit better in this patch. As Kiriko got a slight healing buff, it's going to be sort of taking away a little bit of Ana's niche of being able to heal a little bit more, and with Kiriko being a lot more prevalent, which Kiriko is going to be a fairly good counter to Ana, being able to Suzu the nades and the sleeps. I think that Ana is going to be slightly weaker in this patch, but I don't think it'll be anything of crazy. No, I'm looking for a nade aggressively since I see most of them sort of pathing over there, and I know that since there are tracers on that right side and my tracer's marking them, I'm not going to need nade to really sustain myself, as I hear the rest of them on that right side as well. So I'm just going to be taking that left side, looking for an aggressive nade since I won't need it for myself, and healing up my Winston the best that I can. I will be using nade on myself here now, and I'm not able to care my Winston as much as I really would like to. Throwing nade onto their Malgan, I really want to be carrying up my Winston. I'm actually going to nade them to make sure that they're able to live, and they immediately go back in, which is fine. We do use bubble early, so it means that we're not going to have that much of a buffer on the front line. And our Brig and Genji are going to be going down. Our Winston is in a spot that's going to make it pretty difficult to heal. I want to just be poking at this Malga a little bit to see if I can build my perk a little bit faster. I do believe that the charge rate just got nerfed for our perk. Maybe that's something different here. But we have our nano boost online. We do not have the ability to really pop it yet. I'm gonna put our nano onto our Winston, and their Malga's gonna be walking at us. I throw my sleep into the screen, and we see our tracer going in on their Lijiang, and we're gonna be able to hit a nice nade to really complement that. I want to be just chilling on this main area, keeping my Brig alive and keeping up anyone who needs to be alive on the point. With their Genji walking onto our Genji on that right side, we just want to care it as much as possible. We want to make sure that we're keeping everyone alive and taking this left side. The reason why I picked the speed boost perk over Groggy is because the speed perk, while I generally don't like ultimate perks in general, because they're going to yield overall less value than any upgrades to your base kit, the speed boost perk is going to increase your survivability a lot, as well as increase the lethality of whoever you're nanoing. Having a super speed boosted nano Winston in your backline is going to be really, really, really scary for the enemy team, and it's just a little bit too much value to pass up. As well as Groggy actually doesn't do all that much. Generally, if you're going to be sleeping someone, it's very, very rare that you're actually going to be like sort of like walking away from them, and the slow is going to mean something. Their Genji's in dash range of us, so we're going to be backing up and giving a little bit of space. Even if their Genji wants to fight us over here, we're going to have like 2 escape options. Our Winston goes to bubble us, so we're going to be looking to nade their Lucio. and keep up our break the best that we can. Right now, I'm just shooting their Maga. I really want to be farming my headshot perk as quickly as I can. This is a super winnable game. So I'm just going to be bubble dancing here. If the Tracer's on one side of the bubble, I'm just going to go to the other one. Mauga's on low ground. My Winston is chasing that Mauga out. If they peek, I'm looking for my nade, but since that will not be the case, I'm just looking at nade on this Lijiang. Genji, I sleep him through the deflect since I'm the GOAT. And their Tracer is going to be the last one to touch, but they are going to be trying to save their KD, and we will be closing out this game. Or not game, the round. 12-0, we ended up not dying, which is pretty nice for us, ending up with a little bit more damage than healing too, which is kind of funny. But there were a lot of times where it's just going to be kind of hard for us to be healing people.
Just one more mission.
So making sure that like we're still trying to find some sort of value, be it through like our damage if we can't heal people, or looking for our nades, or just generally living so we might be able to heal a little bit later into the fight is going to be really, really important. I'm very close to my headshot perk, which allows me to sort of fight 1v1s and win a bit more once we get into solid spots. And the reason why I don't take the biotic balance perk is just because the headshot perk is, even if you're like not hitting too much, it makes you so lethal. Even if you don't have like a super crazy aim skill, if you're just like spamming down like a choke like you would at Kiriko and just like randomly having like one taps, you're going to build mana way faster. You're going to build mana way faster. You're going to potentially find a lot of opening kills and or force like out some huge CDs early. Just having it and just like the option of like, I'm just spamming here, but there's such a higher chance now that this will actually be like insane value compared to before. It's so strong, bro. I'm backing up. I was trying to get that mini. I was really wanted to greed my nade there, but unfortunately we will be going down. I really didn't think that we would all commit into Hookah. I figured that we would want to be a little bit more scared of the Mauga fighting in there. But I was a little bit too hyper fixated on the Cassidy, who is just sort of walking main. With that Mercy pocket, they're going to be a real threat. Able to 2-tap most of our roster, actually all of our roster, with just a headshot body shot and being able to one-shot our Tracer even. With the reading spamming out the corner, I'm just going to be backing up. I don't want to be peeking it that much on half HP since that would be within threshold or like one tap range of their Cassidy. So I just want to be chilling a little bit, making sure that while I spam, I'm keeping some ammo to try and live. But unfortunately, we will not be able to live as their Mauga sort of steps onto us. Our Zenyatta will be pinned and blown up, but we do have our Nano Blade, very consistent ultimate win con since the start of time. Just sort of staring at my Genji and trying to figure out where they want to be going. Looking like it's going to be right side. I'm just pathing with my Genji the entire time to make sure that I'm able to get nano on them. I'm going to pop it now. I missed my sleep onto the Mauga, but my team is looking to heal me. A little interesting thing about Cage, as long as you can't see the middle, you actually can walk in and out of it as long as you want. But as soon as you walk into LOS of that middle part that's actually set down, you're going to be immediately trapped and you won't be able to walk out. There's going to be a few instances as well when you're pushing up against the edge of the cage when you can't see the middle, that it will actually just sort of like let you phase out. So they press their Maga. That can be actually a huge opportunity for us if we don't blow up. We hit a nade onto their Maga, which is really, really nice. If we can get the Sacker, we kind of win the game. Me and our bag. No, I get slammed. I die. That slam hitting both me and my Zenyatta is going to be kind of end of the world scenario, because it means that I'm not able to hit a sleep onto their Maga even if they get a slam onto our Zenyatta. I was not able to sleep him beforehand because he is unstoppable during his pin. Our Tracer gets a pretty nice touch. I don't think I'll be able to get second though, but I'm going to try my hardest. Their Cassie would have gone down too. Really sucks, kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. We can definitely win this second point, especially since it's going to be a lot more open of a map. I think that it will enable us to outplay their Maga quite a bit, as well as the high grounds are going to be really, really oppressive. And if we're able to take this sort of left side high ground area, it'll be much harder for their Maga to run onto us, or at least give us a lot more time to be able to react to them. Ugh. I need to wrap this game up. I gotta wake up at like 7 a.m. It's about to turn 3 a.m. and I'm extremely tired. So I'm gonna be trying my heart out here. I'm trying to make this as quick as possible. The Kiri swap is amazing. It is actually like perfect, wonderful, phenomenal. I'm looking for an early nade here onto their Lijiang. I will unfortunately be missing it. And I missed a shot onto the Kiriko as well. If I'm missing this much, it might be worth to swap off of Ana here. Trying to live. I hear their Cassie walking me down this left side, so I'm gonna be trying to live. Big nade coming out onto most of their team, and I'm gonna be popping heals onto my Kiriko. Taking some space on main and seeing if I'm able to find any frags, but unfortunately that will not be the case. My my Kiriko's in a really amazing spot. Find a nade onto their Maga, and the sleep dart will soon follow. I'm just gonna be poking down this Maga. Now that they don't have their E out, it's gonna be much easier for my Winston to play the game. And the entire time that we're basically like rage baiting their Maga to like chase this across the map, it'll be enabling the rest of my team to actually like win the game, blow them up, because they're going to be on Cassidy, Mercy, Lijiang. They're actually going to be pretty weak once our team gets onto them. So if we're ever able to take that trade and live, where their Maga gets onto us, hang on to them, it'll be actually pretty good for us. But we need to be very, very, very careful about our positioning and very safe, making sure that it's as difficult as possible to get onto us. So here we see that their Maga uses their pin. It's gonna be great news for us. And now I want to be thinking about my nano low-key in like a pretty selfish way. If they get onto me, I might just nano someone for the speed boost to live. Oh, I saw my Winston get low, and I really wanted to try to help. But with that said, can't change the pass. I'm gonna be looking to poke their spawn, especially with this headshot perk. It'll allow me to potentially force out a lot of early cooldowns. Oh, I can do a straight line. I could have killed that. Again, even though I want to be poking them as much as possible, I need to be really, really careful about my positioning. Maga goes in. I'm not able to find any kills onto them though. I'm gonna cut this LOS as soon as I can so that I'm able to live as they start walking forward. My Winston goes in, this time without prime. I'm looking for a nade, and I'm unfortunately going to have it blocked. once more. As the Maga walks onto me, I'm just going to be putting myself in a spot that will make it really easy for me to sleep him a little bit later. Fortunately, they will get woken instantly, but we're going to be able to find that trade, and my Genji's going to be able to clean up the rest. With playing so far back, it not only allows us to be really safe and potentially give our team a spot to sort of kite back to, but if their Maga wants to run us down, it means that they're not going to be able to brawl onto our team. It'll make it much easier for us to find a lot of value. I have my curiosity, I have my curiosity, I have my curiosity. And I'm able to trade out their Genji because I hit a nice headshot on them as they sort of walk down towards me, and it will enable hopefully my team to be able to clutch up this fight. But I really hope that we don't overcommit here, because we are down our Winston and our Ana. It's going to be really unlikely for us to win this, but the kill on the Cassidy is massive. That's going to be their main source of like real like kill potential or miracle picks. But they do get res, and my my Winston pops primal, they pop their Reaper fade, and now they will be without fade on the point. It's gonna be really hard to hit Mercy. I'm nanoing my Winston so that they can live, just trying to keep them up as much as possible. I do not have any good LOS on them. Making sure that I keep my Curie up the best I can, but I will not be able to any longer. The Reaper thinks about sort of keeping onto me, so I'm just going to be putting myself in a spot where I can carry my Winston, but it won't be enough. We get one more fight here. I'm thinking about swapping to Lucio, but I do believe that they are going to be pretty close to this Death Blossom, as they are able to pump in quite a bit of damage onto my Reaper. But we need Lucio. We need speed boost to get back to the point fast enough. So I'm going to be speeding my Winston into the fight, potentially trying to play for my own touches. Looks like my Tracer has first touch, so I'm going to be trying to pair my Curie the best I can, living as much as possible. Now I want to be thinking about this Reaper Blossom and how I can maybe try to boop it. Do or die time. I'm putting this Cassidy in the corner, and I'm not able to clean him up, and my Genji's able to find two with their blade. Quite an amazing play, but I think that it might just be a little bit too hard to actually win, especially with the new Reaper perks. But they're able to just... Oh, my Tracer gets on point. That's amazing. Okay. Still very, very winnable. As my ball's coming back, I think that... Do I need to build beat? Beat would be nice. No! My ball's on point for a while. What can I do? I can get on their wing. I just need... Why I wanted to be going for some like really aggressive plays, because we were down people and we were down ultimates. I really wanted to make some sort of miracle happen, so I think that we needed a miracle to win that. But unfortunately, their Cassie was going to find the shots onto us, and we will be losing our very first game on support. Really sucks. I think that I could have done quite a few things better. I think that probably if I swapped off Ana a little bit sooner onto something like an Alari, or maybe the Lucio would have been pretty good, or maybe a Juno. I think that there could have been quite a few things that would be good, but our team was just taking fights like way too far outside of our LOS, so we weren't able to get the healing numbers that we really wanted or enable our team with nades much at all. But the only heroes that would be able to really follow up on that would be like Lucio or Alari. The only other idea that we would want to have, as we were playing a playstyle of basically sort of like rage baiting or like baiting the enemy team onto us, as Ana, we could play a hero that would be much better at that. Heroes like Lijiang or Alari are going to be able to pump in that damage that Ana can do, and that threat that you can have, as well as like holding that space. But with Alari and Lijiang, or even like a Kiriko or Lucio, it's going to be you're going to be a lot more survivable as you're holding those spaces, because you'd be able to have a dash as a Lara, you'd be able to have your Russian Torrent as Lijiang, Lucio, your entire character is just mobility. So giving ourselves a bit more options to survive as they run us down, and playing a bit more of like a proper bait hero would probably be the way to win that game. But I was just a little bit too stubborn and maybe a little bit too late for me to think about swaps too effectively, which kind of sucks. But we do end up going 2-1 for the day on our support. Really sucks that we weren't able to keep our win streak on support, but we got all the way up to Diamond 4. I think we played quite a few games to get up to this point without losing. So I guess we'll take that as it is. But for now, that was Overwatch Every Day. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.